What up? Make this quick. Actually, this is the second attempt because my phone only lets me record in 8-minute increments with the full HD. So real quick, I'm just going to talk. Messing with the Mobula 7, as you guys have seen. I know a couple people are asking for footage, and I should have got some yesterday, but I just wanted to fly. What I did, Brian 3D printed me a mount that's it's made for this, but I don't think it was meant to mount the way that I got it. So it looks kind of goofy and stretched, so I could get the batteries in there, and we're going to work on something else. 2 batteries side by side, so it sits up underneath the props so they don't hit or come near the props. This thing's fun. It's fast. You forget that it's a tiny little 2S. 75 mil. It rips. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this. This is the beta95 V2 pusher. I've done a couple things to it already, like shaving this thing down and actually adding a softer landing pad. Depending on how you land, it's soft. I swapped out the antenna this morning just to see if this is going to make any difference. It's going to be hit or miss. It just had a little tiny thing, and it came out, and it was barely out the back. I've had no problem with reception. I've stuffed it into the woods and in the trees. The one thing I haven't checked is what the power of the VTX is at factory from their settings. Let me close my... Is my door closed? It doesn't matter. But I figured, why not? I did the zip tie mod with heat shrink. You heat it up, get it pliable, bend it to where you want, hold it for a few seconds. Boom. So that puts it up out of the way a little more, and I think the reception will be a bit better. I went over finally and got that hardcore Velcro, the 3M stuff, and that allows me to be able to move the battery. It clicks in and locks, and then I still strap it, but I can move it back to accommodate the weight for this. This is kind of like a first go horse around kind of mount that Brian printed, and hopefully that's it's got a little bit of a kink to it, but you don't see it in the flight footage. He 3D printed me this, took some measurements, horsing around. It's the caddx Turtle V2, not hooked up to the FPV. That was the other idea, was to completely remove this and go that route, but I don't like the FPV feed that you get from these. It's soft, you don't get to pick up a lot of the grain, and with something with this profile, you can get into tiny gaps, trees, and I've already got some plans of spots that I want to shoot, so we went this route. It may still change a bit. I may actually cut the back off and put the board underneath, which would lower the profile even more, and I think help with the balancing and the weight and putting more of the weight at the center point. With this setup, it is still lighter than the Insta360. It doesn't have any stabilize, so you got to rely on your skills. That's kind of my forte with the slow flow. That's weird how it's crooked. It wasn't that way yesterday. Maybe this camera's whatever. 1080p, 60 frames a second, and it records to an SD card that we have on this side here. So there's no limit in time. There is no heat issue. It was already set up. That would be the only downfall. If you just bought the camera, then you'd have to FPV feed it to go into the settings to get it to where you want, or put a switcher, or just run it FPV. The new Turtle, which was another option too, the baby Turtle, that may be an option. This is still just kind of a fun kind of project, and this one would fit in the factory location here, but I do like it up top here. None of this is in view at all. The jello was gone. You get a little bit of jello because of the way that this camera mount is mounted very firmly to the frame, so if any little vibration, but tuning and some of the filtering will get rid of that, and that could just be the way that this thing wobbles a bit. But it's an awesome flyer, and now that I have opened up the world of HD back to this thing, because I'm still fighting with the Insta. I took the video down, I did, because you're not going to be able to see it. There's a couple little scratches here. I think they can be buffed. I got to find out the right stuff to use. Use Brian's Dremel and the right wheel to try to bring it down to get rid of that scratch, because I'm not waiting a couple weeks or paying anything for it, because it happened very, very early on. I want to say like the 5th flight I had with it. But yeah, I took the video down because I thought I fixed it. I'm looking at it, it looked great, and then I wiped my finger across it, and this was 2 days later of sitting under the black light and all that, and completely wiped away, and it scratches were there still. So I gave up on it. I got frustrated. I love the idea of being stabilized and whatnot. But if you fly in level mode or angle mode, whatever the hell you call it, if you're looking for that cinematic stuff and with something like this and you're good on the sticks, then I think this will be perfect for it. And I know I can get in the trees because I just tested it yesterday. I flew fast with it, I flew slow, I flew between the branches, I did a little acro with it, and I'm very happy. Very, very minimal jello, and that just could be because the props are just a touch beat up, a couple little dings and dents and grass clippings all on it, so I could have thrown these off balance. And it needs just to tweak more of a tune and change the break point for when the filtering kicks in a little more. So yeah, it's like I said, I don't remember what I said from the first view of this. It's still lighter than the mount with the Insta by like 2 or 3 grams, so I'm still saving weight. It's just a matter of, do I want the weight up here or do I want the weight down here? What I'll do is build like a little shell that connects to this that will hold it inside, so you'd be able to get the SD card from one of the sides and then rewire the wiring ribbon cable up top and then just slice it off the back. Who knows? I got plenty of wire room up here to do that. I didn't even think, I don't know why I didn't, I left this, don't even need it anymore, the wires for the controller. I removed the microphone already. Obviously I removed the video wire because it's not needed, because it's not wired into the FPV at all. So that might be another option too. So we'll see. It's a work project, and I think it's going to be beneficial for what I'm going to do with it. And I think you guys will appreciate it, because I've kind of pushed away from putting out, unless it's just one of these guys and you're playing in the playground. I don't like putting out non-HD stuff anymore. But was that the Ant? I think the caddx Ant. I haven't done anything on that. I've been so far behind with stuff. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Oh, the reason I'm doing this and not editing is because Brian accidentally grabbed my charging cable for my laptop. I started doing some editing early this morning when I woke up, and the laptop died, and I went looking for my cable. I remember Brian saying, "Hey, is this yours or mine?" I said mine, but I think he packed it up anyway. So that's where I'm at. Hopefully I'll have one here tomorrow and get back on some editings. I got some great footage. Brian put out his first fall foliage video from the rapids at Powder Hollow, which is one of my favorite spots to hike, fly, etc. So that's what I will be sending out. Any recommendations or ideas you see within this, or what you would do to yours, I'd love to hear it. So on that note, gonna go eat some late lunch. I'll talk to you guys later.